Have you ever wondered what your old age will be like? How you will live when your body no longer responds the same, when your strength is not the same, when those little details at home that you ignore today become giant obstacles? No one wants to grow old suffering in their own home. And yet, thousands of women spend their final years trapped in uncomfortable, dangerous, and cold homes. In Japan, where respecting and caring for the elderly is sacred, they have developed household tricks that hardly anyone knows about here. And today I'm going to tell you about them. The first, place non-slip adhesive strips not only in the shower or bathroom but also on the edges of rugs and steps. The statistics in Japan are alarming. Every year, thousands of elderly women end up hospitalized for hip, wrist, or rib fractures caused by a simple fall inside their own home. It didn't happen on the street, it wasn't going down a public staircase. It was in their bathroom, in their kitchen, in their living room, where they were supposedly safest. And the worst part, most of those falls happened in places you would never imagine as dangerous. The most common mistake is thinking that only the bathroom floor needs non-slip protection. But in Japan, they realized after decades of studies on longevity and domestic accidents that the real deadly traps are in the small details. A poorly placed rug, a barely visible step, a polished floor with a drop of oil or water. That's why they invented a solution as simple as it is effective: non-slip adhesive strips. These strips are not like the ugly patches you may have seen. They are thin, transparent, or the color of the floor, and once placed, they practically disappear from sight. They are discreetly stuck on the edges of rugs, under the legs of light furniture, and especially on the steps of internal stairs. Also in unusual places. For example, at the kitchen entrance, where switching from tile to wood, the slight difference in level can cause a fatal trip. And here's the detail that makes them so effective: their texture. They have a microscopic rough surface that activates with the moisture or sweat of the foot, increasing friction just at the moment it's needed most. This allows, even with wet feet or socks, that sudden slip doesn't happen. In addition, the Japanese learned that these strips can be used creatively. A grandmother places small sections at the base of her vases so they don't slide with a slight touch. Others put them on chair seats to prevent cushions from moving. Some even stick them to the edges of large pot lids, so it's easier to hold them without slipping. But the most striking thing is the clinical fact. In studies conducted in senior residences in Tokyo, it was proven that the implementation of these strips in strategic areas reduced accidental falls by 70%. It's not a decorative invention or a cute trick. It's the difference between spending a calm afternoon or ending up with a fracture that condemns you to months in bed. And best of all, they're cheap, easy to install, and don't ruin the aesthetics of the house. In fact, a Japanese woman said, "I prefer a house with invisible strips and no fractures, than a flawless house that secretly hurts me." Thinking about this today, when you have strength and can move furniture, is an act of self-love. Because when old age arrives, and it will arrive, you'll be grateful you took care of yourself in time. Before continuing, as always, I invite you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and support the video with a like. As a gift, in the video description and in the first pinned comment, I'll leave you a 100% free daily organization planner for a flawless home. I hope you make good use of it. Second trick, the furoshiki. At first glance, the furoshiki seems like a simple square piece of cloth. But in Japan, it's a domestic survival tool that has been passed down from generation to generation. Long before there were handbags, modern purses, or plastic packaging, Japanese women were already using the furoshiki to protect and carry all kinds of objects. And in old age, it becomes a silent ally that prevents small accidents which could turn into disasters. The key is in its versatility. It doesn't matter if what you're carrying is a bottle of pills, a hot cup, a bunch of mandarins, or your own mobile phone. The furoshiki adapts to any shape and size, allowing you to wrap and hold objects safely. Why is this so important in old age? Because over the years, reflexes slow down and hands lose strength and sensitivity. What you once held with a finger, today could slip away without warning. Japanese grandmothers know this well. That's why many of them carry their furoshiki in their pocket, in the kitchen, or hanging near the door. When they need to carry something from one room to another, they place it on the cloth, tie a couple of knots, and in seconds they have a secure, snug bag that prevents things from slipping or falling to the floor. But its usefulness goes beyond carrying objects. Some elderly women roll it up to use as a wrist support when lifting a pot or a bucket of water. They wrap their wrist with the cloth and thus distribute the weight without straining the joint. They also use it as a non-slip base to hold jars when opening hard lids. Or they place it over their lap when sitting, to protect their clothes from crumbs or splashes while eating. In rural areas of Japan, it's still common to see elderly women carrying their medications, coin purses, and small items inside a furoshiki, not out of nostalgia, but because it's practical, safe, and prevents accidents. One grandmother said that in winter, she used one to wrap a hot water bottle and hold it against her abdomen while watching television. That way she wouldn't get burned or let it slip. Another advantage is that it takes up less space than any conventional bag. You can fold it and carry it in your pocket or hang it on a nail next to the door. If one day you go to the market and buy fruit, you can improvise a sturdy bag. If a medicine bottle breaks and you want to pick up the glass, you can use it as an emergency glove. If you hurt yourself, it serves as a makeshift tourniquet or sling. The furoshiki is not just a pretty accessory or a cultural curiosity. It's a practical tool that, in old age, helps prevent falls, burns, sprains, and domestic accidents. And the most incredible thing, you don't need to buy an expensive or imported one. Any square scarf made of firm fabric will do. What matters is the habit of using it. Because, as Japanese grandmothers say, when you grow old, your hands may betray you, but the furoshiki never lets you go. Number 3. Use yuzu or shiso essences in strategic points of the house. In Japan, a grandmother's home never smells like a store-bought chemical air freshener. They don't use those artificial sprays that try to imitate flowers or fruits. What they use are natural essences extracted from traditional plants like yuzu, a Japanese citrus with a bright, fresh scent, and shiso, an aromatic leaf with herbal and menthol notes. But it's not just about making the house smell nice. Behind these essences lies centuries of wisdom, blending mental health benefits, insect protection, and emotional harmony within the home. Yuzu is much more than a decorative fruit. Its essential oil has calming properties that, according to research conducted in geriatric hospitals in Kyoto, reduce blood pressure and cortisol levels, the stress hormone in older women. When a drop of yuzu essence is placed in strategic areas of the home, like by the entrance, next to the bed, or in the kitchen, the atmosphere changes immediately. It doesn't just smell good, it feels lighter, easier to breathe. In Japan, they place cotton balls soaked in this essence on small ceramic dishes or in fabric sachets hanging in the corners of rooms. They also mix it with a little water in hand sprayers to mist curtains and pillows. Grandmothers claim that sleeping in a room scented with yuzu helps them fall asleep faster and wake up with less anxiety. Shiso, for its part, besides having relaxing properties, is an excellent natural insect repellent. And that's no minor detail. A bug bite might be harmless for a young person, but for an older woman with thinner skin or circulatory issues, it could lead to infections or complicated reactions. Instead of using harsh aerosols, Japanese women place dried shiso branches near windows or drops of its essence in door cracks. Some even soak small pieces of cloth in water with shiso essence and place them in closets to protect clothes and food from tiny insects and moths. This keeps the air pure, aromatic, and safe without chemicals. The most interesting part is that studies published by universities in Tokyo showed that older women regularly exposed to these natural essences reduced episodes of mild anxiety by 40% and improved their sleep quality. In other words, it's not a folklore trick without basis, it's a domestic tool that cares for both body and mind. An elderly woman from Nagano once said that when she felt restless or a bit sad, which often visited her more in winter, she would open her little yuzu bottle, rub it between her hands, inhale its aroma, and say it felt like an invisible hug. These are tiny, almost invisible details to others, but they make the difference between a calm day and an anguished one in old age. Because when the body begins to ache and memories weigh heavy, the air you breathe in your own home can be an ally or an enemy. In Japan, they understood this centuries ago. Number 4. Turn low furniture into allies. In traditional Japanese homes, where much of life happens close to the floor, low furniture is an essential part of the domestic landscape. Small tables, legless stools, minimal benches. And although in the West they're often seen as decorative curiosities, in Japan they're indispensable allies in old age, but only if you know how to adapt them. The problem with low furniture is obvious. When getting up or sitting down, stability decreases. And hard corners, at knee, ankle, or face height when sitting, turn into silent traps. In Japan, many elderly women have suffered small injuries from bumping into low tables, especially in winter, when reflexes are slower and body stiffer. But, as with everything in their culture, they didn't get rid of traditional furniture, they turned it into part of personal care. How did they do it? By covering the corners of low tables with padded fabric covers. These are small covers, sometimes handmade, that fit perfectly over each edge. On the outside, they're beautiful, decorated with old patterned fabrics or floral motifs. Inside, a layer of thick cotton cushions any bump. They don't come loose, don't get in the way, and add an elegant touch as if the house itself were dressed. But interestingly, these covers don't just prevent bumps. They also help retain heat in the room. In Japan, many homes lack centralized heating, and warmth gathers around the kotatsu, those low tables with a brazier underneath and blankets draped over. The padded corners help keep the heat from escaping so quickly, and also make touching cold wood in winter less uncomfortable. They became so important that in rural areas of Japan, community workshops are held where older women teach younger ones how to sew these covers. They use scraps of old clothing, discarded kimonos, or heirloom fabrics. More than an accessory, they are small domestic treasures loaded with family history. Some elderly women even sent them with gentle yuzu or shiso essences, so the house smells pleasant without aerosols. Or they sew tiny fabric charms in the shape of flowers onto them, not out of superstition, but because they say that when your eyesight begins to fail, it's better to have soft colors at eye level than sharp corners. There are elderly women who say that ever since they put those protective covers on their tables, they stopped getting unexplained bruises on their legs. And when their young grandchildren come to visit, those padded edges protect them too. It's a simple, almost invisible detail, but one that completely changes the relationship with the domestic space. Because in old age, a home shouldn't be an obstacle course, it should be a comfortable, safe, and beautiful refuge. And the Japanese understood that it's not about having fewer things, but about learning how to adapt what you already have to take care of your body and your peace of mind. Fifth tip, the haramoki, a fabric band worn around the abdomen. In Japan, grandmothers never sleep without their haramoki. It's a garment so simple it's been forgotten in the West, but with a history spanning centuries and a quiet, enduring value in old age. The haramoki is a soft fabric band, usually made of cotton or fine wool, wrapped around the abdomen, covering from the stomach down to the lower back. It has no buttons, clasps, or uncomfortable seams. It's just a flexible band that gently hugs the body with discreet warmth. Japanese women have worn it since childhood. It doesn't matter whether it's hot or cold. But in old age, it becomes a true domestic talisman. Why? Because as the years pass, the body loses its ability to efficiently regulate internal temperature, especially in the midsection, where vital organs like the stomach, liver, kidneys, and intestines are concentrated. Keeping this area warm prevents muscle spasms, intestinal cramps, and lower back pain, common ailments in older women. There are Japanese medical studies showing that regular use of the haramoki reduces the frequency of chronic lower back pain in elderly women by up to 50%, especially during winter. And most interestingly, it improves sleep quality. On cold nights, an exposed abdomen subject to temperature changes disrupts deep rest cycles, causing micro-awakenings and leaving one feeling fatigued the next day. Japanese grandmothers know that with a well-fitted haramoki, they can sleep without fear of those treacherous nighttime chills. Moreover, they say it protects the spirit. In traditional Japanese medicine, it's believed that warmth in the hara, the energetic center located in the abdomen, keeps emotional health balanced. When an elderly woman feels sad, anxious, or low on energy, the first thing she does isn't to take a pill, but to put on her haramoki and drink hot tea. Some personalize them by embroidering their initials or using old fabrics inherited from their mothers. Others scent them with natural yuzu or lavender oils, keeping them alongside their sleepwear. And they don't only wear them at home, many elderly women wear them under their clothes when going to the market or out for a walk, as it keeps the abdominal muscles firm and warm, helping prevent strains or pain when carrying heavy bags. There are even modern haramokis that incorporate small pouches of warming herbs, which can be gently heated before use, combining dry heat with soft aromatherapy. It's an invisible garment, with no aesthetic pretensions, but it represents a philosophy of care that the West has long forgotten, to protect the area where emotions, digestion, and vital energy are born. In old age, when the body becomes fragile and the cold weighs heavier, a simple haramoki can mean the difference between a day of pain and a day of calm. And this, silently, Japanese grandmothers have known for centuries. Number 6. Replace round door knobs with levers. Sometimes the smallest details decide whether a house becomes a refuge or a trap. In Japan, where the culture of detail is a way of life, they detected decades ago a silent problem that often goes unnoticed until it's too late: round door knobs. At first glance, no one thinks twice about them. They're functional, discreet, part of the everyday scenery. But with age, when hands lose strength, sensitivity, and flexibility, those round knobs turn into obstacles. Turning them requires finger pressure, wrist twisting, and coordination abilities that quietly wear down over the years. For an elderly woman with arthritis, neuropathy, or simple age-related weakness, trying to open a door can become a frustrating struggle. In Japan, they noticed this by observing something simple. Many elderly women would get trapped inside bathrooms or bedrooms simply because they couldn't turn a knob. Or they'd stumble trying to use both hands, which in emergencies like a fall or a house fire, could be fatal. So they implemented a radical yet elegant change, replacing all round door knobs with levers. Unlike round knobs, door levers require very little force to operate. You only need to push them down, even with an open palm, elbow, forearm, or hip if necessary. This allows any elderly woman to open a door even if her hands are full, weak, or sore. In rural areas, some grandmothers even cover those levers with padded fabric sleeves so they're not cold in winter. This detail, which seems trivial, reduces accidental entrapment incidents among the elderly in their own homes by 80%. According to Japanese home safety reports. It also makes moving around the house more natural. An elderly woman carrying a tray, a bag of medicine, or leaning on a cane doesn't have to set things down or make complicated moves. She can simply push the lever with whatever is free, and the door opens. Here's a curious fact. In some traditional Japanese homes, sliding wooden doors that also require a certain dexterity were adapted with discrete levers placed at elbow height, so they could be opened without using fingers. It's not just a functional improvement, it's a way to restore autonomy and peace of mind to those living alone or spending much of their time at home. Because a dignified old age is built on details. And changing a door knob for a lever is much more than a design decision, it's a silent act of care. 7th, prepare a Kibentenken box, or a mood-changing box. In Japan, old age is not fought with grand gestures or hollow motivational words. It's faced intimately, with small rituals that sustain the heart on gray days. One of the most beautiful and little-known traditions outside of Japan is the Kibentenken Bokko, or mood-changing box. It's not just any box. It's a personal refuge, a portable corner of memories and things that, without any scientific reason, have the power to shift the emotional atmosphere of whoever opens it. In many Japanese homes, especially those of older women, there's one of these boxes in a closet, on a shelf, or under the bed. It can be made of wood, fabric-lined cardboard, or even an old cookie tin transformed into a personal treasure. And what does it contain? Its meaning lies in the fact that every object inside holds emotional value, even if it seems insignificant to others. A black and white photo from their youth, a piece of fabric from the kimono worn at their first festival, a yellowed handwritten letter from a friend who's no longer around, a paper fan with the scent of sandalwood. Some keep an old candy with a sweet, nostalgic taste, a movie ticket from 40 years ago, a seashell picked up on a trip. When an elderly Japanese woman feels lonely, overwhelmed, or trapped in a nameless sadness, something that happens more often than people admit, she doesn't necessarily turn to pills or a doctor. She quietly takes her Kibentenken Bokko, opens it, and allows herself to look, touch, and breathe in the memories that bring back pieces of happiness. It's a form of ancestral self-therapy so simple and effective it feels like domestic magic. Emotional studies in Japan have shown that handling objects associated with positive memories activates areas of the brain related to well-being and can reduce anxiety levels within minutes. That's why, in some nursing homes, it's even encouraged for every resident to have their own personalized Kibentenken Bokko, readily available for difficult days. Some elderly women update their box with new objects, a little note written by a grandchild, a small branch of dried flowers, or a train ticket from a recent trip. Others prefer it to remain an untouched trunk, like a capsule of their history. The important thing isn't its material value, but the immediate effect of reminding the person who opens it that there are still moments, people, and details that have made their life worthy of smiles. This custom, as discreet as it is powerful, has no direct equivalent in the West. And yet it should. Because in an era where old age is often invisible, having a box that can rescue the spirit on shadowy days might be, for many older women, the emotional lifeline no one else sees but one they quietly build for themselves. 8th, install low mirrors at foot level in narrow hallways. Some ideas are so simple, you wonder how the rest of the world didn't think of them sooner. And this is one of them. In Japan, where domestic culture is based on silent prevention and spatial harmony, they discovered that one of the main causes of falls at home aren't large obstacles, but small, misplaced objects, a stray slipper, a forgotten bag, a folded rug. And it's even worse in narrow hallways, where there's no room to maneuver. The solution? Install small mirrors low on the walls, right at foot level, in the narrowest corners and hallways of the house. These are rectangular, discrete mirrors, no larger than 20 or 30 centimeters, not meant for looking at your face or decorating. Their sole function is to allow you to quickly see without bending down or turning your body if there's anything on the floor that could cause you to trip. This idea was born in traditional wooden homes, where grandmothers noticed that over the years, bending down to check the floor became painful and even dangerous. So they began placing small, downward-tilted mirrors next to sliding doors, inside hallways, or near staircases. Interestingly, these mirrors serve another quiet function. They reflect natural or artificial light into dark areas of the floor, making any object or irregularity stand out more clearly. That way, an elderly woman can walk through her home and, with just a slight glance toward the low mirror, confirm that her path is clear. In Japan, this trick dramatically reduced falls caused by tripping indoors, especially in homes of elderly people. And it has an additional psychological effect. It provides a constant sense of security. Because knowing you can easily check what's at your feet removes that latent fear of falling, a fear that often leads people to avoid certain corners of their home or walk with stiff, anxious movements. Some elderly women decorate these mirrors with fabric frames, washi paper, or small carved wooden figures, integrating them into their home's serene aesthetic. There are even those who hang small hooks with keychains or bells beside them, so if someone accidentally moves an object in that area, a little chime alerts them. It's not about filling the house with mirrors, but placing 2 or 3 in the most critical spots near the entrance, beside the kitchen, and in long hallways or by staircases. A minimal idea, hardly noticeable at first glance, yet it restores something old age tends to take away: control over one's own space. And that, for anyone growing older, is a priceless luxury. 9th trick, the portable ofuro. In Japan, bathing isn't just a matter of hygiene. It's a sacred ritual, an act of respect for oneself and for the body that has carried years and memories. Although modern homes have showers and bathtubs, many elderly women continue practicing an ancient tradition, the portable ofuro. It's a small bucket or low tub, made of wood or thick plastic, specially designed for foot baths. It may seem insignificant, but the ritual that accompanies it has such profound effects on physical and emotional well-being that in Japan, it's almost unthinkable to end the day without it. Every night before going to sleep, the elderly women fill this container with hot water, almost to the limit of what is bearable, and add a handful of sea salt or aromatic salts with yuzu, mint, or shiso. Sometimes, if it has been an especially long day, they add a few slices of fresh ginger or a sachet of dried herbs. Then, they place their feet inside and remain in silence, sitting in their favorite corner of the house, letting the heat rise up their legs and relax every muscle. The benefits are immediate. It improves circulation in cold extremities, prevents nighttime cramps so common in older women due to vascular problems or muscle tension, and helps the body release its accumulated stress before sleeping. According to ancient Japanese texts, this foot bath not only cleanses the body but also dissolves the bad energies accumulated throughout the day, allowing the person to go to bed feeling light and in a better mood. Some elderly women accompany it with soft music, a cup of tea, or simply by looking out the window. It is their private moment, where no one interrupts. And although it may appear to be just hot water, for them it is an emotional and physical refuge. The interesting thing is that this portable ofuro is not exclusive to rural or traditional homes. In modern Tokyo apartments, where space is limited, many women still keep their small foot bucket stored in a corner of the closet or under the sink. And they would not trade it for any electric device or imported massager. This simple ritual has been shown in geriatric studies in Japan to improve the quality of sleep in older women, reduce the feeling of loneliness in elderly women who live alone, and in people with mild osteoarthritis, it significantly decreases nighttime discomfort. It is one of those invisible customs that do not appear in tourist guides or longevity manuals, but which sustain the emotional health of thousands of Japanese women in their old age. And the most beautiful thing, it costs almost nothing, adapts to any home, and gives back to those who practice it something that age often takes away, the feeling of intimate, personal, and daily care. Number 10. Label plugs and cables with colors. In a society as structured as the Japanese, every detail of daily life is organized in a way that makes existence more fluid, especially in the homes of older people. One of the simplest yet most effective tricks they use to avoid accidents and complications is labeling plugs and cables with colors. It may sound trivial, but this small change makes a big difference, especially in homes with many electrical connections. In Japanese houses, where technology and appliances play a fundamental role, older people often face the challenge of remembering which cable belongs to which device. Imagine a person with reduced mobility or who no longer has the same agility as before, having to bend down, look behind a table or into a dark corner to disconnect or connect a device. This simple gesture can be uncomfortable or even dangerous, especially when it comes to avoiding falls or unnecessary effort. This is where the trick of colored tapes for cables and plugs comes in. Older people in Japan place small pieces of brightly colored tape on each plug and cable, assigning a specific color to each device. For example, the television plug might have red tape, the fan blue, and the phone charger green. The colors are easy to distinguish at a glance, so there's no need to bend down or search for long minutes. It's a system that optimizes time and reduces effort. Besides making it easier to identify which plug belongs to which device, this trick has other benefits. First, it helps avoid mistakes when disconnecting a device, which is particularly useful when cables are numerous and tangled. In case of an emergency, having the cables identified by color can also be crucial, as it allows the person to quickly find the device that needs to be turned off or unplugged. The coolest thing about this trick is that it requires no major investment or complicated installations. Simple adhesive tapes, which can be easily found in office supply stores or hardware shops, are enough. And the best part is that it can be done in minutes, with minimal investment of time and money. Also, many Japanese homes, especially those of older people, do not have the same number of accessible outlets as modern homes, so this trick is ideal for making use of every corner without complicating life. People in Japan also use reflective tapes on the back of appliances to identify cables that connect in hard-to-reach places or tight spaces. This trick is not only an example of efficiency, but also of how a small detail can improve the quality of life of older people, giving them greater autonomy and safety in their home. Undoubtedly, a simple gesture that makes everything easier and more organized, eliminating everyday frustrations. And finally, the 11th trick, the kotatsu. It is a low table covered with a thick blanket and with a heater underneath. The Japanese winter is relentless, with temperatures dropping considerably, especially in the north of the country. Despite technological innovations that allow homes to be heated efficiently, older women in Japan have found a traditional solution that is not only effective but also comforting: the kotatsu. The kotatsu is a low table, with short legs, that is equipped with a thick blanket that covers it completely. Underneath the table, at the bottom, there is an electric heater or heat source that generates constant warmth. The heat spreads through the entire blanket, creating a sensation of warmth that envelopes the people sitting around the table. This table becomes the center of daily life, especially in the cold winter months. What makes the kotatsu so special is its ability to concentrate heat exactly where it's needed, around the legs and feet. People sit comfortably on the floor, with their legs stretched out beneath the warm blanket. The sensation of warmth is immediate, and best of all, you don't have to heat the entire house to feel comfortable. While other homes might have central heating, the kotatsu allows you to warm up just a small area where the family gathers, making the atmosphere much more economical and efficient. Japanese grandmothers have turned the kotatsu into a place not just to seek warmth, but also companionship. It's common to see several generations gathered around this table, enjoying conversation or even sharing a meal. It's the perfect place to spend time with family. Additionally, due to its design and the way it generates heat, the kotatsu relieves muscle and joint pains, which is a crucial benefit for older women suffering from conditions like arthritis or chronic pain. The concentrated warmth also has a relaxing effect, helping to reduce the tension accumulated throughout the day. The sensation of being surrounded by soft, constant heat soothes both body and mind, promoting a peaceful and tranquil environment. And the kotatsu is not just a functional object, it's also a symbol of Japanese hospitality and care for the older members of the family. Although it has remained a tradition in Japan, the kotatsu has crossed borders and is now known in many other parts of the world. Its popularity has grown thanks to its ability to combine comfort, warmth, and an intimate atmosphere. Moreover, there are now more modern models available that can be adapted to different house or apartment sizes and allow you to adjust the heat level so each person can find their ideal comfort point. In Japan, during the cold winter months, homes aren't filled with heating running at all hours. Instead, the kotatsu becomes a cozy and efficient refuge where you can enjoy a warm conversation, a good cup of tea, or even a bit of rest in front of the TV without excessive energy consumption. And for older women, it represents a way to stay warm, relaxed, and connected with their family on the coldest days, without complications or unnecessary luxuries. This trick is, therefore, one of the keys to enjoying a comfortable winter without the need to turn your entire home into an oven. A simple, traditional object, but incredibly effective at maintaining both the physical and emotional well-being of older people. And without a doubt, it's the kind of comfort that turns a house into a true home. What's beautiful about these tricks is that they don't rely on big expenses or radical changes to your home. They're practical, simple solutions, designed with the care and wisdom of generations who have learned that growing old doesn't have to be a burden, much less a torment. Older people in Japan have discovered that comfort and safety can be achieved with small adjustments, without complicating life or spending more than necessary. Each of these tricks is based on the idea of optimizing what you already have, of turning the everyday into a source of well-being and care. They're not major investments, nor do they require costly renovations. These are details you can implement starting today, no matter the size of your house or the budget you have available. From a simple piece of tape to organize cables, to a low-heated table, what matters is the intention to care and make life easier. And if you apply them, the benefits will become noticeable faster than you imagine. You'll have a much more comfortable, safe, and most importantly happy future. Because although old age brings certain challenges, it also brings the opportunity to enjoy a quieter and more fulfilling life, if you have the means to do so. These tricks don't just improve your home's functionality, they also allow you to enjoy a more serene and comforting environment. A well-thought-out home is a home that takes care of you, offering what you need when you need it most. It's not just about having walls and furniture, it's about creating a home that respects you and provides the support your body and mind require as the years go by. Each of these tips, though they may seem small, has a great impact on the quality of life for older people, especially when it comes to preventing accidents, relieving physical and emotional discomforts, and providing a comfortable space where you can rest and enjoy the simple moments of life. So, why not start today? Make these small but meaningful adjustments to your home. There's no need to wait for the future to arrive in order to improve your quality of life. What you do now, what you begin to implement today, will prepare you for a much more pleasant and serene tomorrow. Your home can be your best ally for a dignified, comfortable, and happy old age.